lot of people who are skeptical of everything.
I want to say to you, no, hold on, because what you've done is you've added confusion or dirt into the water. Because I'm saying that if you take a pond and you leave it still,
yes.
it's a mirror. It's so level, it's a mirror. So the meniscus and the surface tension thing only applies in the small scale. And people come to me and say, I can see a droplet of water. Again, only in the small scale. But once you put a few droplets of water together, they will pool. And at a point, there will be a meniscus. And then they'll get to a point where there's so much water that meniscus will be almost insignificant, and it'll just be a level surface. So across a lake, for example, we know that the lake is level from one side to the other.
Okay.
We know that...
Edges.
Okay, so we use water for leveling because that is measurably level. We've taken lasers across from one beach to another and found them to be perfectly level.
Okay.
The famous Bedford Levels experiment, which was done in the 1800s, over 10 miles, proved that there was no curvature over that 10 miles, none whatsoever. Over 10 miles proved that there was no curvature over that 10 miles, none whatsoever. So there's no drop in water. The Suez Canal is recorded as being a 100-mile long level body of water. So at what point, the longer my water gets, the longer my level gets, the less the meniscus question or the water surface tension question comes into play. There is no observable way that we can go from 100 miles of flat water, level water, to give it a little bit longer and it'll start curving. I say put 10 Suez Canals, 20 Suez Canals back to back, and you get to America from here.
Yes.
And there's no level, and there's no curving. And so when people say, but the ship is going over the curve, then I bring their attention back to, that could be a trick of the eye. It could be something to do with perspective, right? Because if there's a curving and that ship is going over that curve, then I should be able to measure it, the distance from my beach to a 10-meter skiff going over the curve. Mm-hmm. And if it was going over the curve, it would mean, in fact, that it would have to come back up the curve. That means that when it left America, it would have to go uphill. See, once you start to unpick these logical fallacies that we overlook when we're 5 and 10 years old, when we're getting taught this stuff, then you say, okay, water is called water level and sea level for the reason is that it finds a level, and that on the UK coastline, if you go from the east coast to the west coast, it's going to be the same level. The boats, if you could cut a laser from your boat in Wales to your boat in Southport, on the east coast, it would be a dead straight line. We know that. Aside from tidal variations, but you know that tidal variations don't explain thousands of miles of curvature. That's not the same. A few foot of tidal movement. Okay, but let's say within the 10 foot or 15 foot of the tide movement. What I'm saying is that but the spherical science says that over 100 miles you should be seeing thousands of feet, many thousands of feet of curvature, not 10 feet and 12 feet of tidal shift. So that's not my mass. In fact, they also say from England to France should have 100 feet of curve, and yet you can see all of the cliffs, and they're only 100 feet tall from France. Mm-hmm. Right. So where's the curve, my friend? Where's your curving water? Now, my logic says I can expand my little bit of water, my 20 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles of water, up to 1,000 miles now, and you can't really argue against that. What you brought me was what you brought me was your surface tension over a minuscule amount of water, and that's where ballers kind of get lost, because there's a big missing link between a tiny droplet of water and a globe that can kind of hold rocks and everything and things that walk under it and all that crap. So that's why we're like, gravity is not a real thing. And science will admit they don't know what gravity is.
Okay, what if you just, you've seen people do it, you get, a weather balloon.
Yeah.
Set a weather balloon up.
Yeah. We have done that a lot. People with a little bit more money than me have sent up weather balloons to as far as 20 miles. And what they find... Yeah, sure. And what we found is that we always see everything level, unless you send a GoPro lens. A fisheye lens? Fisheye lens makes everything round. You can get to 20 meters up and it'll look like you're on a globe, or you can see the whole of the globe already. So there's a lot of fisheye trickery that people think they're seeing globes, but actually, like the Felix Baumgartner jump, they use fisheye lenses, so it makes it look like it's around Earth. But actually, go and Google this. YouTube this stuff. This is where I'm getting my information from, is people are sending up these balloons all the time now. They get 15 miles, 18 miles, 20 miles, and they always, as it's doing a 360, it's always level, and which is what your experience is of when you go to the beach. It looks like a level horizon, which comes to eye level. When you go to 30,000 feet in a plane, the horizon continues to follow you up. These are cool dogs.
They're cool. No, I think that's a conspiracy too far. I really do. I admire your skepticism.
Which conspiracies do you agree with then?
Well, I do believe the Earth is round.
Okay, no, I mean, which other, if you say conspiracy too far, you must acknowledge that there are some significant conspiracies going on in the world today.
I'm sure there are.
Oh, you're sure, or do you know, have you researched any?
I'm not researching.
Because let me tell you that when I started this 4 years ago, I didn't even know that America was funding ISIS. You know, I was so ignorant as to what's really going on in the world. So I was still watching RT and France news and the Islamic news channels and so on, but they're all the same. They're all from the same kind of house, BBC. So if you're still watching the TV, then I'd say to you, you are so far from knowing what's really going on.
No, I very rarely do. But I think skepticism is healthy and it's good to question things. But I think this is just a bit too far-fetched. Okay. And
can I ask you to, Lynn, if you're really genuinely serious about having skepticism, I see you got some young children and so on and so forth. I'm raising my child with new knowledge now, and that I can offer you this as a point to go and look at something you have to, because you can only unpick the brainwash yourself. And if you go and watch this documentary called "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon" by Bart Sabrell, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon. It's hard to forget that. In fact, you only have to type into YouTube "A Funny Thing Happened" and that documentary will come up. And it's footage of Buzz Aldrin and the guys that you've never seen before, posing questions and showing evidence that you've never seen on the documentary channels. And once I saw that, I was in no doubt. And I'm only talking 3.5 years ago that I was still a believer in the moon landings, by the way. Now, of course, they're a complete fakery, and they cannot get beyond perhaps 100 miles. I don't know, but there's no way they can go to a thing 250,000 miles away.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it. I better go.
Okay, bro. Well, all the best.
Good luck.
All right. What's your name?
My name's George.
Nice to meet you, George.
Okay, come on, girls.
Bye, girls. Have a good life. Cheers, George. How's these dogs, huh? Oh, look, we've got Anonymous with us. Good morning, my friends, fellow humans of Ipswich. Did you know that you could not possibly live on a spinning ball? Spinning balls only work on Disneyland. You have to live on a flat earth because water is flat. Sea level, water level. The truth is in the words we use. My friends, I'm here to tell you that the earth is flat. There's no way you could be living on a spinning ball. It just does not work like that. No science can prove that we live on a spinning ball. No experiment will prove that we live on a spinning ball. You look like you want to know more about this, young man.
We all know about it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Keep searching. There's plenty of truth to be found. Now, good morning, madam. Beautiful huskies. Hey. Hello. Hello. Oh, well, this guy's got some beautiful dogs, and yet he's gone to Fluoride Central for a chow. These two ladies look like a likely target. Good morning, ladies. I got some fantastic information for you, free of charge. You don't need it? Oh, I don't know about that, sir. Some info for you got it already. Wow, man. Oh, this is what we need. The folks in the ambulance. They need it. They need to know. I got some info for you, bro. You want this? It's good for you. Good morning, madam. Turns out that we've been lied to about the world we live on. The earth is not a spinning ball. It has to be flat. Check it out. The science proves it. Water level, sea level.
Why do you use miles and feet? No one does that these days.
Really? That's a fair point. Imperial world, yes. No, you're right. I don't mind using kilometers or miles. I go both ways when it comes to my measurements.
I understand that. And there's a piece in the newspaper today, the local newspaper, about television sizes of large number of inches.
Yeah.
And they put in the conversion how many feet an inch it is. But Why?
Yeah.
Isn't this a metric world? Did you ever learn metrics at school?
I did,
Because
yes.
You're a lot younger than me.
Yes,
and
I
I
did.
suspect that since I didn't learn it, you may not have either.
No, I got it in South Africa. They'd moved to metric before the UK. UK held on to imperial longer than we did, but I learned both
But they
systems.
converted completely in 1966.
Right, it's taken them a long time to catch up here then, because only a few years ago they were fighting over the pounds and the weights and so on of things.
And
But
the
that's
BBC have a problem
but
with that,
the
don't
BBC have a problem with everything, sir. Did you know that that the BBC, the 9/11 event that happened in New
Well,
York?
Which 9/11 would that be?
September, yeah. There's New York.
Because we have another 9/11, of course, now we're coming up to Poppy Day.
Yeah,
That's 9/11 as well.
yeah. Oh, I thought it was 11/11 this year. Isn't it? 11th of November.
When
I
it all stopped.
Oh, I see. Because 11th day, 11th hour of the 11th day, and all that 11th month and all that business. They love their numbers.
They do.
I've actually marched past the Queen at Poppy Day, a Remembrance Sunday. I think just once or maybe twice, but I've done that because I am a veteran myself. As it happens.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But I used to be quite sort of soft on all of that, but now I realise that there's a massive sort of occulted or hidden controlling hand that sits behind pretty much all of the world affairs, and things like the weights and measures and arguments over one thing and another are, as H.L. Mencken put it, what the government is here for. Government is here to create a never-ending series of hobgoblins with which to frighten the populace into demanding more of their controls.
Civil servants to make the complexity for all.
Yes, and I used to be one of those civil servants, sir, and about 5 years ago I had to step away from that when I realized that I was a part of the problem. And now I am here trying to help people elucidate them so that they can become part of the solution for themselves and then for their wider community. So I've enjoyed meeting you. I won't hold you up any longer. You're on the internet. I assume you do your own research.
I don't do a lot of research.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, those people walking down there, they're young people, aren't they? 12,
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
And here's the information in miles and feet. Would they even understand what miles and feet are? Do you know,
Well-
I have worked all my life as an engineer around the world and in this country.
Okay.
And I have never, ever yet been able to use non-metric measurements
Okay.
in my work.
Can I ask you, as an engineer, have you ever done any construction that accounted for the curvature of Earth?
No, I was doing electronic engineering.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I do know about the curvature problem, but it's something else which we'd look at.
Okay. Because we've discovered that Pythagoras says that on a ball of 24,000 miles in circumference, you should have 8 inches, 40,000 kilometers in circumference. You should have about 20 centimeters per kilometer and a half. Per kilometer and a half squared. I'm just ripping this out of the head now. 1.6 kilometers to the mile. But
So nice.
yeah. So, but so there is a formula that we can use, and when you apply that formula to curvature, you realize that you shouldn't be able to see the beaches of France from England. You shouldn't be able to see Morocco from Spain. You shouldn't be able to see, as we've shown in this photograph, from 400 kilometers away. I'll quote it in kilometers. 400 kilometers away, there should be 5 kilometers of curvature, ocean in between those two images. The bottom image on the flyer you have there. So this curvature problem was what, for me, 3 years ago, started getting me seriously questioning the idea that I could live on a ball, that I live on a ball.
Well, I tell you, I followed that up because I remember standing on one side of the Red Sea
Yeah.
and being able to see Egypt on the other.
Yeah.
But not every day.
Uh-huh.
It was very clear it was there, and then the conditions changed and suddenly it's disappeared. It's gone off into space.
Well, I think you've brought up an important point that people often get confused by, and that is atmospheric occlusion, and it's just a matter of how much moisture is in the air on a particular day. So if you go into a desert, like I did in my national service, I spent a year in a desert in Namibia called the Kalahari Desert, and there you can see for hundreds of kilometers because the air is so dry, and so you get these wonderful vistas over vast distances, and for me that was one of the first things my mind went to when I heard that the Earth might be flat. I realized that that's a long distance for me to see. If it's meant to be bending at X amount of centimeters per kilometer, then that over a distance of, let's say, 20, 30 kilometers, you're talking about 40 meters of curvature. And that's buildings should be missing from your view, and coastlines and the rocky outcrops for the White Cliffs of Dover are only 40 meters high at their highest, and we should not see these from France. So we're left with this conundrum that we've always spoken about water as being a level playing field. We use it for leveling in construction. We say water level, we say sea level, we say horizontal, which means two lines that never meet. So we realize that actually a lot of our lexicon is indicating or pointing us to the obvious, and that is that water has to find its own level, and that means that between Europe and America there can only be a level pond. They call it the pond, across the pond, would you believe? So, it's a level pond, and it's a small body of water that, the earth is not perhaps anything like what we think it is, and beyond the kind of, what people get stuck on is this material thing. Oh, okay, so there's more land, or how do we go further, or how can we explore this, or why don't we go and explore that? Okay, great. Let's try and answer some of those questions, as many as we can. But I think also that there's something divine about us that's been overwritten by the religious orders and by the scientific orders and by the governments and controllers. So what I'm asking people to do is think, once they've realized the vastness of the lie wrought against us, that they go beyond that and start to sort of look within and see how vital it is that you see the truth about who and what you are. And not in a kind of Christian way or a Muslim way or whatever, but in a way that there is no intermediary between you and your creator, between you and the higher power that comes from within you. So I say to people, I end up saying to people sometimes, it's almost like, I think of it like this, like there is a Christ within each of us, and whether you unlock the key, whether you find the stones to unlock the key in this lifetime is really up to you. And why I feel passionate about getting out and talking to people about this is because if I offer them that nugget that they can go and spend a few years working on and finding information on, then I think fantastic for them. And, they will hopefully gain whatever's to be gained from that. And then perhaps their community, their neighborhood, their family, or whatever will gain a improvement from that brighter light that's in their community. So that's what I'm here to do.
Many people do it on a spiritual level.
There is a spiritual element to it, yeah. I think there has to be a spiritual element to it because there is much more than this material realm that we've got going on here. And for me, the whole purpose of the Royal Societies of Sciences and so on are all about finding ways of hiding that, which is why people come to me with very good explanations of why certain things are as they are, or why certain things cannot be answered. And this has all been cleverly designed over a few centuries, building us to the point where we are now. People have never been dumber because they are so far away from their own true sense of what they truly are. Yes, of course. Like good slaves, yes.
Let's go. I think that's a lovely arrangement.
Thank you very much. What's your name?
Alex.
Alex, lovely to speak to you. Lovely to meet you. Have a fantastic life, my friend.
Thank you.
All the best. All the best. Thank you, Alex. Bye-bye. Hey, hello. How about that? That was cool, huh? That was cool. Hello, my friend. Can I offer you some information? It's a takeaway flyer to look into at your leisure. Alex, that was a nice guy. Was his name Alex? I'll have to play that back. I lost it in the moment. Hey, are you cool with me? Because you guys have been yapping at people. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm a human who thinks that we could not possibly live on a spinning ball. So there is a lot of complexity. What shape is the Earth? The whole Earth or the plane that we live on? Because the plane that we live on has to be level, like a football pitch. We don't live on a ball. You don't play football on the ball. That I don't know. But would it surprise you to know that I think I know what you think it's standing on? That it's standing on, the Earth is spinning on time and space. Is that right? Is that what you imagine? So if I say I don't know and you say you believe it's on time and space, which is better? I'd much rather say I can't prove time and space, so I'd rather say I don't know.
So why do you think it's a flat plane? Because the water can't...
The dynamics of water, yes.
So what's holding the water on the flat plane?
I'd have to say it has probably be enclosed in some way, because we always know that if you take a body of water and don't enclose it, it'll run and spill off, right? So we've been programmed with this idea that there has to be an edge. I don't know that there is.
If you go south of the Southern Cape, sail around the Southern Ocean,
Yes.
you come back to where you started,
Yes.
and there has been no wall containing it.
Well, we think that possibly one of the ideas is that there is a sort of an ice ring around what we call the Antarctic, as a ring that goes all the way around the outside of a pizza-shaped Earth. Yeah. And
Nobody's ever found it.
yes, well, Captain Cook claims to have sailed for 3 years, 67,000 miles. I may have those numbers wrong, but some long distance, nearly 100,000 kilometers, or more than 100,000 kilometers, and never fully circumnavigated the ring in 3 years. This is what his logs say. Now, that may be disinfo.
There is a race sailing around the world at the moment.
Oh yeah, we do the around the world, but we could, if we made a dinner plate world, or if I go,
If you go around the outside.
yeah, you just go around the, if I was the central North Pole and the continents were arrayed around me, then yes, you could sail around me, no trouble at all, either way, east or west. But what we've never done is we've never circumnavigated north-south. We've never gone around the underside and come out, you know.
So there's Antarctica on a nice cap at the other.
But I mean, you know, if we were able to fly all the way out to the moon, you would have thought we'd be able to fly underneath this ball that we live on, right? We've never done that.
Nobody's flown across Antarctica.
No. They've never come out at 180 degrees. They've skirted around the side and come across it. But we can. There is not one single.
Can I must go, but I'll take one of your leaflets.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It is. But bear in mind that it's water that's always going to find its level. And so we say sea level means that it's level from England to America.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I will do.
Lovely to chat to you, sir.
What do you do with all these videos?
But they're on YouTube.
Put them on YouTube.
Yeah. Go and check it out. You'll be on YouTube. You are already, by the way. Hey, it's a cool day in Ipswich. They're hungry, man. I dropped my flyers. Oh, well, that was fun. I'll probably let it run there and say thanks for stopping by and joining in on the stream. Oh, here's a fellow. He looks like he wants to laugh at it. It's fair enough. It's the initial reaction. Let me offer him some information. Hello, sir. You look like this is crazy.
It's entertaining.
Yeah. Entertaining. I like that. What's your name?
Julian.
Julian. How open-minded are you, Julian, on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being very open-minded.
I think of myself being very open-minded.
Cool.
I'll happily engage in debate.
Awesome. What's your best evidence or scientific measurable proof that you live on a spinning ball?
Well, observation.
Okay, no, I mean measurable, because observations can be, like, let's say we can say that observations can be wrong. People often say that they see the curvature of the Earth from their plane at 30,000 feet, but we take a photograph of that and we put a ruler to it and we find that it's perfectly level. What they're seeing is a sort of occlusion by the atmosphere that makes it seem perhaps like there's a rounding or whatever. But science would say you have to get to 60,000 feet. There's many pilots who say they can't see curvature. So.
Curvature wouldn't happen visually through the atmosphere because of refraction.
Okay.
With
Yeah. So, but there's plenty of people.
Within the same
Okay.
material.
Well, there's plenty of people who say that.
We would have suddenly kind of like another material. It wouldn't start refracting at a different angle. So curvature couldn't be explained just by passing through vision. Passing through air.
Okay. Well, we could talk about how more moisture in the air might occlude it, because water does cause a bending, right? But let me move on from that quickly and say that what I'm looking for.
Just to stay on the point, so even repetition of moisture.
Yeah.
So unless we were saying that there's more moisture in certain corners, in the far corners
Yeah.
of the Earth.
Yeah.
Okay. So then suddenly the light, refracts because of higher density of particles on either side. Then I could understand. But then we would have to say that this part of the Earth is wetter and this part of the Earth is wetter. So therefore, those two parts look kind of curved.
Yeah.
That isn't the case.
Okay. So let's get to the measurable part then, because that's what I'm looking for, is a measurable proof, something that you and I can repeat, something that we can measure for ourselves. Because what I'm bringing to
So
you.
the problem with saying something that you and I can repeat you know, we obviously learn a lot of physics and you know, at school, and you know, we kind of base our understanding there. The things that you and I can ourselves measure with the tools that we have got are hard to get by, because what we're measuring is huge distances, huge kind of forces, you know, and a lot of force that we, you know, measure as part of it. For example, we can measure things like, you know, gravity. We can measure that, you know, and that is measured by the force that is exerted on any object of a given weight that we can measure.
Okay, so before I move on to the question of gravity, I may forget, I want to come back to the curvature, because curvature is fascinating. For me, it was the first thing that got me thinking about the Earth not being a ball, and that is that there is a mathematical formula that we're offered by our scientists to say that because we live on a ball of 24,000 miles in circumference, there must be X amount of curvature, and they say it's 8 inches per mile squared, certainly for the first few hundred miles. So over 100 miles, 8 inches. Okay. So that's 20 centimeters?
20 centimeters
per mile, so per kilometer and a half squared. It won't be exactly right? But you know what I'm saying. So when you hear that number, you realize that over 20 miles, you should be seeing about 30 meters of curvature. Over 20 miles, 30 meters of.
per mile, we've got 20 centimeters.
So it's about 30 kilometers. Yeah? Over 30 kilometers, you should be about 30 meters of curvature. So once you look, we've got a table here you can take away with you, and you can obviously Google this or research it all yourself. But once you look at that, you say, okay, so why can't I see the buildings or a thing over a stretch of water dropping down by any measurable amount? So what we've done, when you say we don't have the tools to measure these things, what people have done is they've taken powerful lasers and shot them over 20 and 30 miles to other beaches across the way. And we know from our own common observations that when we look at a distant beach or a distant lake shore, we know that it's level between this shore and that shore. We know that instinctively, that it's absolutely level between one shore and another on a lake. And now we can go to England and see France on a clear day, and we say that should be under 100, 200 feet of curvature, and where it's all visible.
Ever managed to, let's say, you know, from a hypothetical point of view, can you shoot a laser beam to Mount Everest? Can you shoot a laser beam to the highest mountain in...
Okay. No, probably not, but that becomes, for me, that's almost like
is it just Julian, it's just a technical problem that we don't have?
Well, yeah, because in science, because you were saying, because what you're saying is that, or what people say, and what I was taught was that we're just too small to see these things and measure these things and so on. Okay.
But do you think that theoretically then, given like the strength of a laser that's strong enough that we could shine a laser beam to the highest peak in Europe?
Well, if you ask NASA, they would probably say you could shine a laser beam to the moon and back, because they tell us that they're firing a laser to the moon and bouncing it off a mirror, right? If you believe that crap, then you surely believe that you could get a laser powerful enough to shoot to Everest. Anyway, I don't think that they can. But hold on, let me move on. Let me move on. Hold on, Julian. It is a valid point.
You haven't told me that you believe that even given the technology, we could fire a laser to Mont Blanc.
Well, let me stay with what I can control. Let me stay with what I can manage, because before we scale it up, we need to be able to model it. And now I've never seen a model of anything that resembles a ball with water that spins on the outside of it, right? But what I have seen, and I'm trying to bring to your attention, is that water is always level, and I can measure it over the shorter distances, 20, 30 miles, with the laser pretty accurately. The Bedford Levels experiment was peer-reviewed back in the 1800s and approved over 10 miles. There was zero curvature using the locks, and then I'll give you the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is 100 miles long, and it's provably level from one end to the other. So, pardon me?
How so? How is it provably level?
Well, because the guys who built it, says there's no flooding water. If it was not level, water would have to be moving from one ocean to the other. Right? There would be a river of water flowing from the high point to the low point. That's what we know in physics. From studying physics, we know that if one point is higher, there's going to be an equilibrium reached, whether it be in gases or liquids.
Okay, you mean higher in terms of overall water levels?
Well,
from one water level to another water level.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but the thing is, because you're obviously saying that, you know, it is at exactly the same level around 100 kilometers. I don't know what the length is.
100 miles, yeah.
100 miles. So, okay, 100 miles of Suez Canal, you say it's level.
Yeah.
It's the same level.
I don't say, they say it's level. I'm not saying. Well, that's why we call it water level.
Level because the water is kind of, doesn't flow in one direction or the other. Okay, and obviously there's going to be currents and whatnot.
And the USGS say that there's a 9-inch drop between those two oceans. That's their official statement. So there's a 9-inch drop between the 100 miles. Now in spherical trigonometry, there should be a 9-inch drop after just the first mile, not 100 miles. There should be many meters, hundreds of meters of curvature over that distance if we lived on a ball. It should be bending, and gravity should be doing its magic of keeping that bend. There should be like a bulge measurable in the middle.
I mean, again,
so
that might be the case again. I mean,
it is the case, my friend.
That might be, but you were just talking about like actually taking it down to the things that you and I can observe.
And measure.
But that again goes into a realm of me shining a laser to Mount Everest, or shining
no, because that is a measurable. It's a building fact.
Thing. We don't even need to go like to the 1800 or kind of. We can go actually to like 300 after Christ. There's Greek, great Greek mathematicians, who took a perfectly straight well. Okay, that was dug 20 meters down. Okay, and he was observing the sun, shining down perfectly into the well.
Yes.
Okay, when he was at
Alexandria.
Yes.
You're talking about Eratosthenes. I think it was actually before Christ. Do you believe in the virgin birth?
In the virgin birth?
Yeah, do you believe in that?
I'm not a religious person.
Okay, so you know what, 2 billion people on Earth believe that a virgin gave birth to a guy called Jesus. But you don't believe that, do you?
Not necessarily.
No. So I don't believe that Eratosthenes even existed, because I don't believe in all the crap that I'm given from before my time. But I will give you this: that experiment may well work on a ball, but it also works on a flat Earth with a small local sun. So it actually works on a small I mean, if you took a model small in your lounge on a table, right, and you created those two wells, and you took a lampshade and put it at a central point, then the shadows would fall into those lamps, into those wells at different angles. The same with the stick story and so on. So no, that's not enough. Listen, my friend, we know that water is level. Okay, well, it takes a while. It took me 3 months to kind of unpick myself on this. So did I give you a flyer? You did. You got a flyer.
I'm all good. Thank you very much.
Julian, all the best, brother. Happy life. Hello, madam. Hello, sir. I won't have to film you. Can I give you some information, though? It's life-changing. It's fantastic for you. What's This is about, we've been lied to by our educators, by our government, by the people that control us. You agree with that?
Yeah, what group do you belong to?
I don't belong to a group other than the human race. There is only one human race, and I belong to that.
I say the government is bullshit.
They are bullshit, but they're a control mechanism. The root of the word government is govern, to control, meant the mind, mental, mind control. That's what government is, and they were given to us by the royals, who were given to us by the religious orders, i.e. the Vatican, or the sort of fundamental, the origins of Judaism. I don't know, but ultimately there's a control grid that's over us, and what they've done is they've created this idea that we're just some Darwinian lucky strike, that monkeys came out of some goo and then eventually turned into you and me. Well, I say I used to believe that, but it is a belief system, and then we've proven that. Well, we can't prove, but gravity can't be proven. So gravity is also a belief system. So we're saying that gravity can't work. So that means that water can't cling to the outside of a wall. Natural physics says that water has to lay level. It always will find its flat and level. If you disturb water, it'll just go all over the place. But people will tell me, no, that can work on a spinning ball because it's got this magical force called gravity. Well, gravity is bullshit. And we're saying that Earth has to be flat. I go further and say that my friends here will tell you that there's more land to be found, and it's all a control system. I agree with those hypotheses, but I say further that you are a divine being of the Creator, and that you are meant to be having this divine, beautiful thing of your own experience of this wonderful place. Not like you see people homeless or struggling or whatever, you go, that is not what, I don't think that's what the Creator wanted for that person. Maybe some people say, no, they wanted to come here and have that terrible experience, or that's their learning or whatever, maybe. But I think you're meant to be having a beautiful, enabled experience, and it's wrong that the system is poisoning us, poisoning our minds, poisoning our bodies, poisoning our children, poisoning our souls, and all of that. So we're standing here trying to kind of get people to kind of take stock of that and maybe change their own life from within. And when you change your own life, then perhaps you change your community too.
I'm going for. I'm not going to say too much. Is this going onto Facebook?
It's on YouTube, but I'm not filming you. Look, I'm filming that way.
Yeah,
So
no,
you're all right.
yeah, no.
I'm live streaming, and I got a massive audience of 14.
Oh, that's all right.
Hey.
Yeah, no.
You're not alone, brother.
If you was on Facebook, I would have gone home and linked it onto Facebook.
Oh, I'd love you to link me on Facebook, bro, because I don't do Facebook. My YouTube name is Trinity4.
Is it on
Oh, it's not on there, unfortunately. I'll see if I can get a pen and write it down for you. Trinity4, the number 4. Yeah, check me out, and you could be my 501st subscriber. What's your name, bro? Oliver, I'm Dave. Nice to meet you, Ollie. You take care, man.
I've got too many people on Facebook who's following my campaign at the moment.
What's your campaign about?
It's casual justice.
Oh, okay. I got done by the police last week, actually. They nabbed me for growing a few plants in my garden. They said I was stealing and they had a farm going, and then they had to let me go because on no charge, because all they got was 5 plants. That's all they had on me, and they turned my life upside down just for that, you know. And yeah, I'm a little bit upset. But what happened to you, my friend? What was your miscarriage?
Someone got killed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. No, it's been going on for a long
time. Well,
sake.
all right, Ollie. Well, good luck with that, man.
I've got a lot of people everywhere.
But you know, once you know that you are the divine, you are truly the divine creator, or you know, you are so important. You are the top of the pyramid. You know, when they give you the uncapped pyramid in all the Illuminati stuff, you're meant to be the top. They've taken you off the top of the pyramid. That's what that's about, friends. You've heard it here first. You are the top of the pyramid. All right, Ollie. All the best, my brother. Yeah, go well. You are the top of the pyramid. I've been meaning to tell you that. The uncapped pyramid, it's because you've been taken off the top. You get that? Spread the word. Spread the word. Because now you heard. You are the pinnacle of the uncapped pyramid. And they're keeping you from that. You know? Good morning, my dear. The earth is flat. I know it's hard to hear that. People get angry with me. So yeah, the uncapped pyramid is indicating that you've been taken from the top, and you're meant to be at the very top of it all. Yeah, Speedy. Shit, it's nice to be in the sunshine. Morning, sir. Nice to see you. You all right? Good. Good morning, sir. Sir actually means servant, so it's not really. It's like a habit. I don't mean it in derogatory terms. But people recognize that. People kind of, oh, okay, he's being a bit respectful and so on, you know. So I guess it's a bit like that. But you know, talking the language that people understand. Look, he even stopped because I called him sir. I'm reaching on that one, I know. It's a lovely day in Ipswich, and I'm sure the guys are pretty pleased with the turnout. Okay.
I just want to say 2 seconds about mud floods.
Yes. Hiya. I won't film you. Hi. What's your name? Can you just stand in the sun? I don't want to film you, Charlotte. I just want to I'm freezing cold. Come stand here. I'm not filming you. I'm filming up the street. Look.
Okay. I was just researching.
You're researching mud floods?
Well, he's told me about it.
I just told about mud floods.
Oh my God, they're
I
so...
just want to find out family history, and I think I can't find anyone with my last name, and it's all like really weird.
How far back?
Well, they're originally from Gloucestershire, and a tiny community, and then they all just suddenly moved abroad to America.
What period?
I can't find anything.
What period did they move?
I don't remember.
That's
It's
important.
quite far.
No, I tell you why. Because we think that there has been an inundation.
It was about the time where there was all the witchcraft going on and everything.
Right. So some of the periods in history where they say, oh, there was this dark period, there's this period where we don't know a lot. I think those are the telltale moments where they kind of something happens.
Yeah.
And when you look around places like Ipswich and you see the amount of buildings that are sort of under about 10 foot or 8 foot of mud, and the rest of the building down below, you're like, shit, this has happened not in living memory, but maybe in the last 150 years.
You know, and I've just noticed everything around me is changing, and
Really, you seeing that?
yeah. People have said things like, it's just madness. You know, and I just feel like I need to know, because otherwise I feel like I have to know.
Are you on YouTube?
No.
You must start doing some research on YouTube, because
No,
you will start to find this stuff.
I've done everything, and I seem to be like there's a stopping point where I can't find anything.
So that's the next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that what happens is there's a break point and there's no records.
My daughter, she's on another level, honestly. She's like complete. Like, when
Awesome.
she was, I say it's quite.
I'll leave you to it. Morning, friends. I'm here to tell you that you've been lied to, that the Earth is not a ball. The Earth cannot be a spinning ball in space. That doesn't work. It only works in cartoons. In Disney cartoons, in fact. Space has been faked by NASA. NASA has been caught out lying and cheating and faking space. The moon landings were faked. They're a hoax designed to make you think that you are a monkey. Evolution is a lie designed to make you think you are not important. But I'm going to tell you, you are important. You are, in fact, the center of all creation. There are no aliens. There are no other worlds. There are no dinosaurs. There are no asteroids. These things are made up by cartoon writers and fiction writers. The Earth, my friends, has to be a flat, immovable surface, because otherwise we would get dizzy and we would fall off. Oceans and rivers would not work on a spinning ball. As uncomfortable as this may be to hear, I'd ask you to go and research for yourself the flat Earth. Research for yourself how your government has lied to you at every level, on everything. I'm here to give you the good news that you are the center of creation, and this earth and this creation is designed for you to come and have fun. Not be a slave, not be a servant of some monarchy, not be a servant of some religious doctrine, not be a servant of some scientific doctrine, but to be the center of creation. Hello, bro. The center of creation. You are. You are. All love, my brother. It's all love. How are you doing? It's all love, brothers and sisters. We are one creation. There is only one human race here. Don't be buying into all that bullshit. There is only one human race. All the borders, all the countries, all the flags, that's all designed to mess with your mind, to make you small. You are not a Darwinian lucky strike slug that came out of the slime and turned into a fish, which turned into a monkey, which turned into a black man, which turned into a European. That, my friends, is absolute poppycock. Poppycock, I tell you. Earth cannot be a spinning ball. That's absolute cartoonery. I'm asking you to turn away from your McDonald's life and look into this for yourself. Take care of your health. Your temple is you. The temple of God is on your shoulders. You cannot possibly live on a spinning ball, my dear. Not possible. But you can believe that all you like. It hurts at first. Good morning, madam. I won't hurt. Good morning, dear friends of Ipswich. I'm here to tell you that you cannot possibly live on a spinning ball. Spinning balls only work in cartoons. NASA is lying to you. NASA only provides cartoonery and computer-generated imagery. Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong sold you out. Watch the interview of them when they came back from the moon and see how they look like guilty men, lying through their teeth about the trip they never made to the moon. Yes, my friends, it's true. All your education is designed to control and minimize your mind. You are the divine creator spark, and this system of control is robbing you of your divinity. It is robbing you of your sovereignty. You are meant to be sovereign. Like the Queen, you are meant to be the top of the pyramid. But they have ripped the top of the pyramid away, and that's you. They are hiding the top of the pyramid because it's you they want to keep off the top of the pyramid. And you will never know this truth until you realize the earth is flat and it cannot be a ball spinning in space where asteroids are going to come in and knock it down. You created this earth perfect. Someone has poisoned your mind. Something has poisoned your education and your food. For generations we've been lied to about who I'm asking you to stop for 1 hour. What is a controlled government military operation? Which is why the guy who runs the BBC is called a general. It's a military organization designed for your propaganda. The British learned the Nazis, and they have only improved on the propaganda and the poisoning of your food, the poisoning of your toothpaste. Fluoride, by the way, is very bad for you. Distilled water is very good for you. Raw food is very good for you. Sugary diets will cause cancer. The sun cannot cause cancer. You are being lied to by your medical establishments. Why? Because they profit from having you sick. They want you on their drugs. They want to poison you from the time you were born until the time you die, and they want to profit from that all the way through. Income taxes. We were meant to pay income taxes for just 1 year to pay back the war. But here we are, 80 years later, still paying excessive taxes. People working 2-3 days a week simply to pay government taxes. This is absolute poppycock, and it's time people woke up. Turn off the Netflix, turn off the cookery programs, turn off the pornography, turn off the sports. It's time to take control of your own life. I found myself in.
Death Star!
Yes, yes.
Our minds have been filled with rubbish by the media!
Yes, yes, we agree. Hallelujah! Indeed. Luke.
Okay, thank you very much. May the force be with you.
May the flat force be with you. Space is fake. Space has been faked for you by NASA, by Hollywood, and by the BBC. Tim Peake is a lying sellout. Tim Peake never went to space. Tim Peake did a spacewalk in a swimming pool. Space is faked in a swimming pool. They never went to the moon, my friends. The Earth is provably level and flat like water. I'm here to tell you your government is lying to you at every level. Your education has been mistaught by educators who were mistaught themselves. Up until now, for 3 years, I've been looking for proof we live on a spinning ball. And to date, I've found none. I'm challenging you to switch off the mind programming, take back control of your own life, regain control of your own senses. Realize you are not spinning. You are not spinning, but you are stationary, because if you were spinning, your body would tell you that. You are not spinning at 800 miles an hour according to your science teacher. As we can see, the sky above us is absolutely stationary, and the winds will blow in any direction they choose, despite traveling at 800 miles an hour. I'm asking you to research that your government has lied to you about everything. You have to live on a flat, stationary, immovable Earth, and your science needs to be reviewed all over. Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, hello.
Nice to meet you. Superb. Some flatties. All right. Have a nice day.